Good afternoon, Jan.
Good afternoon. Wait, I'm still setting up. I have TeamViewer, I have Discord, and now I have to log in for Zoom.
Okay.
Uh, I thought let's work with Discord first, because otherwise we risk to have the audio and the video going to
Yes.
the other one.
Yes. Good plan.
All right, go to Zoom.
All right. I see that you joined.
Yeah, meeting is being recorded. That's good. So I can close this one and I can open this one. All right.
Okay. So try
Okay.
a share. Actually, you should probably be seeing my Discord window because I'm just sharing this entire screen.
Yeah. And
So
the video is inverted, so I have
yeah.
Discord in front of me and Zoom. So if I watch that side, then I look to myself.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, try sharing something so that we can make sure that all the windows are aligned.
I share something with
I did. Let's see.
uh, you are sharing or I share something?
Yeah, you go ahead and share something as well, so we can just keep the shares open. And I wanna arrange the windows so that
Why,
we can
so
see
sharing
things
we do with Zoom in
with
this case.
yes.
So let's take this screen and share it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I've got a Zoom share here. I can zoom and pan. All right. And then I can also bring up this stuff. And just do the old drag to split the screen. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's gonna work. We'll be able to do stuff with that. Perfect.
Okay,
All
so
right.
right, so I see. Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You should be seeing a mess of windows
I
from
see.
from my side.
I see code shared with the video.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this is gonna work. Okay. Looks good.
The
Um,
things which I shared, are they visible or
yes.
okay?
Yes. In fact, you should be. Well. Oh, okay. That's right. You wouldn't be seeing those because those are coming through Zoom. Zoom
Hmm.
doesn't repeat itself. So yeah, you'd be seeing
Just
half of our videos. Yeah. But it is
right.
showing up
Make this
perfectly.
one a little bit bigger. And uh, why is this one like this? That's gonna be better.
Nice.
And this one like this. Okay.
Excellent.
Um, so we were here.
Yes.
Um,
All right. And so um, to kind of uh, continue from last week, we ran into a problem where uh, the relation wasn't working, and that was just because I was putting it on the wrong fact. So I had put the relation down here on yard name, but it's really supposed to be a relation on yard. And the thing that probably should have tipped me off is that in nowhere in the relation did I use this. So a relation is supposed to join a bunch of facts to this, and that way you
okay.
can get the yard names, and then inside of create task, you can use it just like this. So we just do yard.names, and then we can further refine it. So in this case, I selected the value.
Mm-hmm.
So that can simplify things a great deal. So we can start out by going through the model and adding those relations, and then see how simple this becomes. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Michael, illustrate number and postcode.
Okay. So I'm just going to start from the top, and at some point, GitHub Copilot is going to take over, and it'll just get everything right. But until then, we've got a relation of client name, all names, and using the arrow, we will do the relation.define. And so it'll take a fax repository, and we can do this from name in fax of type client name, where client name equals this, and there's not any prior, wait, no, there's not any next, where next prior contains name. Then we'll select name. So that's going to
relation, there is a typo.
Relations. Ah. There we go. And actually I should probably do a run all for it to pick up all the types. There we go. So I've got the relation for the names. Now the other helper type is a condition. So I can do a public condition is deleted. And so this is using condition.define. And so we will end up with something like this. So it is deleted if there are any, we can simplify this a bit. If there are any client delete such that delete.client is equal to this, and there are not any restore such that restore client delete equals delete. So that that implements the delete and restore patterns. That implements the immutable property pattern, and now we've got just those two helpers on the client, and we can forego writing all of this stuff in every single specification that needs it. So with the yard, oh, this is interesting. I hadn't noticed that, but I put these the wrong way around, and so it doesn't know what to do with those. So let's move that cell up. I know there's a way to move a cell up. Well, maybe not. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut that code, create a new code block down here. Okay, now it's got access to the yard. Okay, so we've got the yard names. Let's see if it can pick up the condition is deleted. Yep, so there's a delete and no restore. That means it's deleted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now at this point, our little AI helper is going to pick things up for us. So with the tool, we have tool names, and then whether a tool is deleted, type of work, similar thing, but now here we've got names and icons. So it's picked up the fact that there are 2 mutable properties on this one. Created relations for those. Type of leave has names and icons as well. And tasks. Let's see how much of the task it's able to get. There's a lot going on here. Okay, so we've got the task client name, task yard name. So we've copied those mutable properties into the task yard address. And then the task tool lookup and the task tool on the fly. So the 2 ways that you can add a tool to a task. And then the workers that are assigned, which mutable property, the intent is for it to be 1, but if you have a conflict, then you might have more than 1. And then is deleted. So with the task, yeah, okay. I was thinking that there might be another relation, but no, I'm not seeing it. So we are good there. So with all that, now I should be able to bring all that in and simplify these conditions quite a bit. So here, what I am looking for are the clients of this supplier. Now I didn't, yeah, that's right. I didn't make a relation for clients of a supplier, and that's because I defined client in a different code block than I defined supplier. So supplier is all the way up here. So in an actual C# project, we would be able to define all of these relations. So I should be able to have a relation of clients in a supplier. But since client is defined in a separate code block, I can't do that in the notebook. I was able to define relations here because client name is defined in the same code block. So, but once I am to the yard, then I can furthermore say and not yard is deleted, and that just brings in that entire condition. Mm-hmm. Client names, I'm going to do yard.client names, select the value. Let's see, that's not yard client names. That's going to be client names. Did I define client names for the client? I don't think I did. Let's go back up there and do that, just to make sure we've got the full thing. So a dispatcher, a worker, a username, client. Oh, client just has names. Got it. Names. There we go. Yard is yard names, yard addresses, yard dot addresses. And yes, so in this case, yeah, we do want to use this projection. So it should be like that. And why is this not picking up? So we've got the yard names yard address is here. Okay, I was still in manual mode when I did that one. So yeah, now it picked up yard addresses. And so it should be able to recognize that. Close those parentheses. So much simpler. Much simpler. And then that should still have the same effect of giving us our view models. All of our stuff is in there.
Yeah.
Very good. Let me make a quick commit there. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and push that up. Committing directly to main, because that's the part of the project we're in right now. Okay. So at this point, we have everything that we need for this dialogue right here, I believe. Yeah, we can simplify things a little bit more here, but oh wait, no, we can't simplify that one because that would be a relation on user, and user is part of Jinaga. But there's going to be a feature coming soon where you can add a relation to a fact that is not inside of your project using extension methods. Eventually, .NET will support extension properties, and then it'll be perfect. But in either case, you can't add extension methods in notebooks. You can't create a static class. But that's okay. Okay, so we've got everything that we need for this this dialogue. So I think probably a next good step would be to see if we can build that dialogue in WPF.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a DWS over here. It is a completely empty model project. And so now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab the entire contents of this notebook. Now, this is one place where I wish there was some easier way to share code between the notebook and your writing code. One thing that you can do is compile it and then import it into the notebook, but then you can't edit it as quickly. So, yeah, still haven't figured out the best the best way to bridge that gap. All right, so in order for all of this to work, we need to, well, did we already add? We did not. Let's manage NuGet packages and
Jinaga.
add Jinaga.net. Ba-ba-boom, ba-ba-boom. Yeah, I'm still at version 1.0.0. I haven't. Yeah, I found one issue with the 1.0 release as soon as I published it, but I haven't gone back and fixed that. All right, so what I want to do, yeah, okay. I want to then add this. Here it is. Boom. Add this to global usings. Well, I thought that there was a single keystroke to do that. But, all right, we'll do it this way. Let's add a class called global usings. and doesn't actually need to be a class. But so in here I can say global using Jinaga. And now with that, was there one? Yeah, there we go. And now it says, oh, you don't need this, so it's unnecessary. We can use Jinaga anywhere. Okay, we don't need to render types. So let's keep working our way through. And once I've got everything in here, then I can add those missing relations to make sure everything is in place. And I could also choose to break up my my model a little bit. So far we're talking mostly about dispatcher things, although I did add worker here, and now here's the CRM things. So it might make sense to take the CRM classes and rather than put them here, let's add another code file called CRM. So all of those are in there. And actually we can rename this one. This isn't the entire model, this is dispatcher. All the dispatcher things. Type of work. And type of leave. And then we've got tasks. And I think that was the end of it. Yep. So yeah, we've got our full Jinaga model all laid out here. Now, when I'm doing this, I like to think back. Okay, what would this look like if this were an entity framework? Each one of these would be its own separate class. All of these would be properties. They would be mutable, of course. And then you would have some mapping configuration going on. You would have database migrations going on. And then that would just get you the server-side storage. So, yeah, I like the fact that this is so compact and you can just see the whole model in one place.
We have the possibility in Visual Studio to render the complete graph or not?
No, no, not any way that I've been able to find so far. It might make sense. Excuse me, I'm creating work for myself now. It might make sense to have a Visual Studio plugin that is able to look at all of the records inside of your project, look for fact types, and then give you some experience where you can say, I want to generate a graph, and then let's include this one, include this one. I think that would be a pretty awesome tool.
Didn't we have at a certain moment not a possibility to generate something in HTML that showed up in a browser?
So that's actually precisely what this is doing. It's just that .NET or Polyglot Notebooks renders anything that you write out as HTML in its own little browser. So this is SVG, which is recognized as HTML. So it's able to render it within Polyglot Notebooks, but Visual Studio doesn't have that same kind of mechanism, because it's not intended. Visual Studio is not intended for this kind of fluent programming.
Mm.
Yeah, that was Don Knuth came up with that idea of fluent programming. You should be able to write the code and the documentation at the same time. And so that's basically what Notebooks is, but yeah, Visual Studio doesn't have a fluent programming capability built in. Okay. So, yeah, now that we've got all this, we can go one step further. There was one more thing that that wasn't quite... Well, if it pops up, we can... I think it was supplier. Yeah, supplier name. So let's see if Copilot recognizes now what we're doing here. Like relation. Is Copilot even enabled right now? I'm not seeing it pop up. Yeah, Copilot doesn't work nearly as well in Visual Studio as it does in Visual Studio Code. I haven't figured out why. But it gets into this state where it's just, I can't connect. Well, retry. If I close Visual Studio and open it again, it will be able to connect. But, yeah, it doesn't like to do that. So, okay. This isn't GitHub Copilot. This one is the Visual Studio AI, which is not nearly as powerful. But yeah, so supplier names. Let's see. I thought I had a supplier name. All right, so we've got tools. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Oh, that's right. We were talking about clients. Yeah, let's do the clients. This is going to be a nice easy one. So here we want relation.define facts. And now we're going to say from client in facts of type client, where client.supplier is equal to this. And I'll add the condition that client is deleted. I'll say not is deleted. I think I could also say is deleted equals false. I think my parser will handle that, but yeah, select the client. Yep, so I've got my relation right there. Now that it's all in the same project, I can do that. Project support circular type references. Okay, so that's our model. Let's see if we can do some real quick WPF stuff. Well, before I do that, let me... I am in a Git repository. Yeah, this thing knows I'm in a Git repository. I'll use this. Okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know why it doesn't pick that up. But let's add a new WPF project. So yeah, I actually have tested not WPF, but I've tested with Blazor, and a Blazor WebAssembly project works great with Jinaga. So far I haven't added any specific support there, so I haven't created a Blazor specific library for it. But yeah, I'm going to need to add some support for authentication. to make that easier, and then we'll have Maui and Blazor. So this we should be able to do something pretty similar with WPF. Let's see, why do I have to? Oh, that one's VB.NET. Okay, so C#. And this is going to be DWS. We can call it DWS Dispatcher. What do you think? What would be a good name for the dispatcher's application?
Console.
Okay, yeah.
But
that
perhaps that's what I called it just until now. But perhaps dispatcher is.
Yeah, actually, dispatcher is going to run into problems because there's a type called dispatcher, and then that means you'd have to fully qualify that type. Otherwise, it'll think that you're talking about the namespace.
Let's stick with console then.
Yeah. Okay, so we are targeting .NET 8. So .NET 9 is out, but we want the long-term support. And if we do run into a .NET 9 feature that we miss terribly, then maybe we'll do something different. Okay. Wow. Good old WPF. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Yeah, there's our grid layout. It gives you nothing. Just start dropping components there. That's awesome. So so that'll be our main window. We do want to have a another window that is our dialog. So going back to the Zoom share here, there's the dialog that we're going to want to build. So let's iterate toward that. So very first thing that I want to do is let's just drop a button on the main window that'll open up the dialog, and we'll work on getting that behavior into the right place in a little bit. But okay, so there's our main window. Now, okay, we can just drop a let's see, I like to, yeah, let's just add a vertical scroll, or a vertical oh, that's right, yeah, you don't call it vertical and horizontal as the type, you use the stack panel, yeah, and then you say the orientation is equal to vertical. There we go. Yeah, and now if we put a button in here, then boom, we got this little tiny button there, that I can say the content, not the text, but the content is equal to, we want to bring up this one. So let's call this new task. All right. I like a little margin just to make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so we got a button. Not going to worry too much about a view model at this level yet. Just want to get to the other window. So let's do our button click event. So I can control click. Can I control click? Or is it F12? F12, there we go. And now I'm in there. Or I can even control RR and call this new task on click. So that changes the name here. Boom, boom. Yeah. All right, so now I want this to open up a new task window. Let's start by organizing the code a little bit. So I will want a folder. So what I usually do in the Maui applications is I'll have an areas folder, and this will be for all of my vertical slices through the app. That way I can keep it separate from the things that are cross-cutting, so like components and that kind of thing. So this is going to be the tasks area. Also, I like to use plural for the namespaces so that they don't interfere with the singular class names. And now I can add, well, first of all, I'll add a new task view model. Boom. Let's make that a file script namespace. And then let's add a, it's going to be a window, I think, is how you'd get a dialog. So let's do task dialog. Okay. Now just to show that we've gotten here, we'll have some text showing up there. And then if we go back to the main window, now I have to remind myself, how do you display a dialog? Man, it has been a long time since I used to teach this stuff too. Yeah, so we've got the show dialog. Okay, and you call that on the window that you want to show. So we've got a new task dialog, Bring that in, and then we show that dialog. Okay. All right, let's see if I remember how to code up WPF. Oh, have to make that my, oops. I use Alt F5. I remap that to set the current project. Okay. And then we have new task, boom, and it opened up the dialog. Yay. All right, keeps opening it on the other screen. Oh well. Okay, so we can do a thing. Now we want to, we want to commit because I like committing often. All right, so now let's bring in Jinaga. Let's set up that that view model, and yeah. So far, I just created the dialog. I didn't actually pair it with a view model. Need to do that. Also, notice there's no dependency injection going on. So we can add that capability later as well. But yeah, so let's add Jinaga. So I want to add to this one, add the core Jinaga package. But then ultimately I'm going to want, see, so this one you can see that's deprecated. Eventually I'll take that out of the index, but yeah, Jinaga Notebooks is now the current one. Yeah, I think actually, yeah, eventually we're going to add SQLite to the console application, so we should be able to store things locally even in the console app. But we'll hold off on that until later. We'll get things started with just this
memory store.
Yeah. All right. So, in order to get things set up, so I'm going to create a new class at the top level because there aren't too many classes that I want at the top level, but everybody needs this one. Jinaga config. And so here I'm going to have a static class that I can use to set up the Jinaga client. Now, eventually I'm going to add this to the IOC container, and so it's going to be registered as a singleton. So for right now, I'm going to actually just make it a singleton of this class. So maybe we can do another IOC-fication session next time, but just starting off nice and simple. So here's the Jinaga client. And so I'm going to want to initialize this with create Jinaga client. So let's define that method. So it knows it needs to be static. And so here we're just going to return Jinaga client.create, and we'll just leave it empty for right now. So just create one using all the defaults, the in-memory store, no connection to the remote repository, just get everything working there. And also, let's copy these global usings in there. That way I can get rid of that. Okay. And then when I am in the view model, I am going to ultimately be using IOC. So let's go ahead and prepare for that now by using constructor injection. In .NET 8, I think primary constructors were added in .NET 9, so this might not work. No, it looks like we have primary constructors, so it might, yeah. Okay, we have primary constructors, I love it. Okay, so now we've got our Jinaga client, and so we can start adding properties to this thing. But before we do that, if we come back here, we'll notice that, oh yeah, we haven't even created the view model. So let's go ahead and inject the view model into the new task dialog. So new task, new task view model goes in there. Oh yeah, I can't use a primary constructor here because we have initialized component going on. So we'll do this the old-fashioned way. And then I can create a read-only field for it. And I like to do that before I initialize components. I don't think it actually matters, but it makes me feel better that the view model is already there before it starts doing the data binding. Oh yeah, and for data binding to work, you need to have the binding context. Let's see. What is it? Yeah, it wasn't called binding context. What was it called in data context? It was called data context. Okay. Need to set that. So that way all the data binding is going to happen against the new task view model. All right. Okay. Oh, this is public, so that means that needs to be public. Okay, and now let's add our very first property. Let's come back over here, take a look, and we have the client list. So let's just go for it and come up with that entire list right there. See how far we can make it in the next 15 minutes. Okay, so we've got a view model. I want to have an observable collection. So yeah, it's at this point that I'm pausing and thinking, when should we bring in Assisticant? Because I'm starting to feel that Assisticant would be helpful here. So for the other examples, like the blog Maui example, I didn't use Assisticant because I wanted to demonstrate how you could use Jinaga with an MVVM framework that you're already familiar with. But in this case, you're already familiar with Assisticant. Is that the direction that you're thinking that you want to go with this application?
Assisticant was quite useful, quite powerful. But will we have it in Maui as well?
There's probably going to be no, we wouldn't right off the bat. There would be some work we need to do in order to get it there.
Mm.
So the alternative is that we would bring in some other MVVM framework, and then we would tell it when we're changing the bindable properties.
I'm not if I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that landscape is looking even better these days, even in WPF land. So let's give this a shot, and we'll maybe come back and use a different one, but let's
perhaps commit first. No.
Oh yes. What have I got? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've got my Jinaga client. Boom. Synchronize those up. Okay, so let's bring in Assisticant. This was last published in 2022. So yeah, have not updated it in quite some time. Oh yeah, here I'm still looking. So let's do view model. It's equal to new view model. There, we knew that it needed to inject that. So that's good. All right. So the now that we've got Assisticant, Assisticant actually does need a model class that's going to have all of the it's going to have all of the oh goodness. I used to call them dependent and independent. Now they're called computed and observable. Yes. Oh my goodness, it's been a while. So we do need to have a collection of these task models. So let's go ahead and create a task model. And so this, because I am going to end up I'll probably need all these to be public. So let's go ahead and add Assisticant to my global usings. Yeah, I've got assisticant.fields, assisticant. Yeah, I will add them as I need them, but I think, oh my goodness, it came up with a whole bunch of stuff. Wow. Yeah, it's just doing all sorts of GTD things here. Interesting. So, we're going to have an observable. So let's take a look back at our, yeah, it's actually not a task that we are trying to do here. We're trying to get a list of clients. So let's change this to client model. There we go. So we want an observable string that is the name of the client. But in fact, we don't want that to be public. We want the observable to be private. So that's the name. Go ahead and create that observable, but now we can create the property for it. So that observable keeps track of as things change, and so let's start with just client names. We'll do this one step at a time. So I've got the client model. I'm also going to want the client view model. So this is probably, so as we go, we'll probably see that Assisticant is actually requiring a bit more than we need when we're doing a Jinaga application, because Assisticant, it assumes mutability. You've got mutable properties, and it's just tracking the dependencies on those mutable properties. But yeah, in Jinaga, we want the model to be the immutable facts, and then the view model is basically the projection of those facts. So here we're ending up with the model being the projection, and then we've got another view model layer. So it might end up being more than we want to do. So, but we'll continue down this path for right now. So we've got our client model. Let's clean that up a bit, and then let's go ahead and add a class for the client view model. Okay. So in the in Assisticant land, the it takes MVVM quite seriously, and the view model is a projection of the model. So so it knows this view model is looking at that specific client, and then I can say here's my name, and oh, that's a string. And when I get the name, that's just going to be give me the client name, and when I set the name, set the client name equal to the value. It's a pretty simple pass through at this point. But of course, the whole Assisticant thing is that now this client view model can take on more responsibility and update that model as appropriate. In fact, right now, let's just do the read side. So in this particular view, the user's not going to be changing the client name, so we won't worry about that. So we've got our client name, and now when we come all the way back to the new task view model, what we're ultimately going to want to do is keep a list of client models. So here's our observable collection, observable list, yeah, from Assisticant collections of, now this
Michael,
is,
but the fact that in the dialog box we can add a new
oh, that's true.
non-existing client.
Yes. That might come into play, yes. Okay, so yeah, when we get there, we might actually need to add the rights path. Yeah. Okay, so let's add observable or Assisticant collections to global usings. And then I can get rid of all those. So I'm keeping a collection of models, but this needs to give me back a collection of view models. So I'm going to have a, oh, look at there. That's actually precisely what I wanted. Yes, so it's going to project each of those clients into a client view model and then give those back. Now there's, so this will work, yeah. There's an optimization that we can do at some point later where we have a computed collection. We use, you know what, actually I think the object recycling will work out of the box with this. So I think actually we won't even need that optimization. So yeah, so far I think that's what we need. We will hook up Jinaga in just a little bit, but in order to finish this off and get it all the way out to the view, then yeah, here's the view, new task dialog. Right here where I set the data context, I don't want to set that directly to the view model because there's no Assisticant wrapper there. That's actually just the C# class. I need something that implements iNotify property changed. And in Assisticant, you don't put that here. You don't have, you know, we didn't at the time have code generators. Maybe this part could be simplified with code generators, but what we want to do is say for view dot wrap this view model. And so that gives you back an object that implements iNotify property changed, and implements it by looking at all the dependencies and firing when things change in the observables. So that should set that up. So yeah, we are getting close to time, but I do want to make sure that we set up this one final thing. How do I actually update this client's collection from that Jinaga client? So I'm going to have a public void load. I won't call it load clients, it'll just be load. So let's create the specification. And so the specification is going to be similar to what we did in here. In fact, let's go ahead and start with that full specification right there. We have the yards in supplier. So yeah, that's the other thing. We need to know our starting points. Well, we should be able to, oh yeah, we don't have a reference to the database model. Let's get ahead and add that reference. Now I can bring those in. So if I had a supplier, so we'll solve that problem next time, then I could find the clients. From the clients I could find the yards. So actually I probably needed this to be a yard model. And then I would select this projection. So then the next thing would be Jinaga client dot watch, and I would watch this particular specification, and I would start with the supplier. So that's going to be brought in at some point. So we'll just do that so that this can compile and we can actually write the code. That's obviously not correct. But then once we have a yard, so this is in my yard projection, and then I can call some code here, and this code is going to take this yard projection right here. So yard projection, if I look at the properties, it's client names, yard addresses, yard names, etc. It's all of these things. And it's going to create an object in this collection. Well, this is the client's collection, but we'll show the pattern anyway. So we'll be able to say clients.add a new client model. But just adding the client model is not quite enough. We also want to do something like this. So I've got client names right here in my projection. So so that means I want to do the yard projection dot names, client names, and here I should be able to subscribe to the names. Now, if you look right now, this is all of the collection type of properties. So client names is actually coming back as an iQueryable, and that's not the type that we want. So what we can do is wrap this in a an observable. Let's see, facts.observable. And so that turns client names from an iQueryable into an iObservable, which means now I have somewhere in here. There it is, unadded. It gets kind of hidden. So unadded, whenever I get a new name, which is now a string because that's what I'm selecting here, then I'm just going to set the client name equal to that value. So this is how I would hook up the Jinaga projection and the Assisticant observables inside of the model. If I was going with a different MVVM framework, these wouldn't be models, but these would be view models, and then I would set the observable property of that view model, and it would raise property changed.
Okay.
So, yep, a few things to do next time. We need to make sure that we get the supplier in here. And then we can do the data binding, and we should be able to see all of these. Well, we'll change that from client model to yard model, and all of these yards will show up inside of the window.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, so I will push that. Yeah, and this will be good a good test to see if Assisticant is providing value here, or if it's just creating an extra layer that we don't need. Like you said, when we get to the idea of editing, then that might be something useful. So that way we'll have those models that keep track of what the user has changed.
I think I'm gonna look
So
up the old collection of Assisticant videos.
yeah,
I should still have something about Assisticant, uh, how it was working exactly. But I
yeah,
remember it was something quite useful. Um,
yeah. I think I'm going to have to look that up too, because like I don't exactly remember, but we're
no,
also figuring out if it fits. So
but indeed, already the naming, dependent, variable, independent, or
mm-hmm.
yeah, um,
Yeah, yeah. Dependent and independent came from update controls, and so I renamed it to Assisticant, and I also renamed all of the um, all of those uh,
yeah.
fields.
Be, be, Before that, it was update controls. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. And it was targeted toward Windows Forms.
Hmm.
So
And it was there when I saw it the first time. But actually, I never used it in
mm-hmm.
any product. Um, okay,
Yeah,
it's it's time to go back in history and look up. Um,
yeah. Okay, so yeah, you can also yeah, I pushed all that code, so you can also
mm,
give that a try and see yeah, play around with it, see what you're able to
I
do.
haven't. I got into the GitHub, but I didn't do anything with
Mm-hmm.
it for the moment. Um, Still have to to repair something behind that wall.
Yeah.
One of yesterday, I went into the attic and then saw that that special stair was breaking.
Mm.
So now we have no access anymore to there. But okay, have to repair that first. All
Yeah.
right, Michael. Then next Thursday.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. See you next
Okay.
Thursday then.
All right.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.